And the name said to Moses, Come into Pharaoh, for I myself have hardened his heart, and the heart of his servants, so that I may set these signs of mine in his midst, and so that you may tell in the hearing of your son and your son's son how I toyed with Egypt, and my signs that I set upon them, and you shall know that I am the name. And Moses and Aaron with him came into Pharaoh, and they said to him, Thus said the name, God of the Hebrews, How long can you refuse to humble yourself before me? Send off my people, that they may worship me. For if you refuse to send off my people, look, I am about to bring tomorrow locusts in all your territory, and it will cover the eye of the land, and one will not be able to see the land, and it will consume the rest of the remnant left you from the hail, and it will consume every tree you have growing in the field, and they will fill your houses and the houses of all your servants, and the houses of all of Egypt, the like of which your fathers did not see, nor your fathers' fathers from the day they were on the soil until this day. And he turned and went out from Pharaoh's presence. And Pharaoh's servant said to him, How long will this fellow be a snare to us? Send off the men, that they may worship the name their God. Do you not yet know that Egypt is lost? And Moses and Aaron with them were brought back to Pharaoh, and he said to them, Go, worship the name your God. Just who is going? And Moses said, With our lads, and with our old men we will go, with our sons and with our daughters, with our sheep and with our cattle we will go. For it is a festival of the name for us. And he said to them, May the name be with you the way I would send you off with your little ones. For evil is before your faces, not so. Go pray the men and worship the name, for that is what you seek. And he drove them out from Pharaoh's presence. And the name said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the land of Egypt for the locusts, that it may come up over the land of Egypt and consume all the grass of the land that the hail left behind. And Moses stretched out his staff over the land of Egypt, and the name drove an east wind into the land all that day and all that night. When it was morning, the east wind bore the locusts, and the locusts went up over all the land of Egypt, and settled very heavy over all the territory of Egypt. Before it there had never been locusts like it, and after it there never would be. And it covered the eye of the land, and the land went dark, and it consumed all the grass of the land and every fruit of the tree that the hail had left, and nothing green in tree or in grass of the field was left in all the land of Egypt. And Pharaoh hastened to call to Moses and to Aaron, and he said, I have offended before the name your God and before you. And now forgive, pray, my offense just this time, and entreat the name your God, that he but take away from me this death. And he went out from Pharaoh's presence and entreated the name. And the name turned round a very strong west wind, and it bore off the locust, and thrust it into the sea of reeds. Not a locust remained in all the territory of Egypt. And the name toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not send the Israelites off. And the name said to Moses, Stretch out your hand over the heavens, that there be darkness upon the land of Egypt, a darkness one can feel. And Moses stretched out his hand over the heavens, and there was pitch dark in all the land of Egypt 3 days. No one saw his fellow, and no one rose from where he was 3 days. But all the Israelites had light in their dwelling places. And Pharaoh called to Moses and said, Go, worship the name, only your sheep and your cattle will be set aside. Your little ones too may go with you. And Moses said, You yourself too shall provide us sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may do them to the name our God. And our livestock too shall go with us, not a hoof shall remain. For from it we shall take to worship the name our God, and we ourselves cannot know with what we shall worship the name our God until we come there. And the name toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not want to send them off. And Pharaoh said to him, Go away from me, watch yourself. Do not again see my face, for on the day you see my face, you shall die. And Moses said, Rightly you have spoken, I will not see your face again. And the name said to Moshe, Yet one more plague shall I bring upon president and upon empire. Afterward, he will send you off from here. When he sends you off altogether, he will surely drive you out from here. Speak, pray, in the hearing of the people, that every man borrow from his fellow man, and every woman from her fellow woman, ornaments of silver and ornaments of gold. And the name will grant the people favor in the eyes of the Egyptians. The man Moshe, too, was very great in the land of Egypt, in the eyes of Pharaoh's servants, and in the eyes of the people. And Moses said, Thus said the name around midnight, I am going out in the midst of Egypt, and every firstborn in the land of Egypt shall die. From the firstborn of Pharaoh sitting on his throne to the firstborn of the slave girl who is behind the millstones, and every firstborn of the beasts. And there shall be a great outcry in all the land of Egypt, the like of which there has not been, and the like of which there will not be again. But against all the Israelites no dog will snarl, from man to beast, so that you may know how the name sets apart Egypt and Israel. And all these servants of yours shall come down to me and bow to me, saying, Go out, you and all the people that is at your feet, and afterward I will go out. And he went out from Pharaoh's presence in a flare of anger. And the name said to Moses, Pharaoh will not heed you, so that my portents may be multiplied in the land of Egypt. And Moses and Aaron had done these portents before Pharaoh, and the name toughened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not send off the Israelites from his land. And the name said to Moses and to Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, This month is for you head of months. It is the first for you of the months of the year. Speak to all the community of Israel, saying, On the 10th of this month, let every man take a lamb for a father's house, a lamb for a household. And should a household be too small to have a lamb, it must take together with its neighbor who is close to its house in proportion to the persons each man according to what he eats shall take his portion of the lamb. An unblemished lamb, a yearling male, you shall have. From the sheep or from the goats you may take it, and it shall be a thing to be kept by you until the 14th day of this month. And the whole congregation of the community of Israel shall slaughter it at twilight. And they shall take from the blood and put it on the two doorposts and on the lintel, on the houses in which they will eat it. And they shall eat the meat on this night fire roasted, with flat bread, on bitter herbs shall they eat it. Do not eat from it raw, nor in any way cooked in water, but fire roasted, its head with its shanks and with its entrails. You shall leave nothing from it by morning, and what is left of it by morning in fire you shall burn. And thus shall you eat it, your loins girded, your sandals on your feet, your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is a Passover offering to the name. And I will cross through the land of Egypt on this night, and I will strike down every firstborn in the land of Egypt, from man to beast, and from all the gods of Egypt I will extract retributions. I am the name. And the blood will be a sign for you upon the houses in which you are, and I will see the blood, and I will pass over you. And no scourge shall become a destroyer amongst you when I strike in the land of Egypt. And this day shall be a remembrance for you, and you shall celebrate it as a festival to the name through your generations. An everlasting statute you shall celebrate it. 7 days shall you eat flatbread. The very first day you shall expunge leaven from your houses. For whosoever eats leavened bread, that person shall be cut off from Israel, from the first day to the 7th day. And on the first day a sacred convocation, and on the 7th day a sacred convocation you shall have. No task shall be done on them, only what each person is to eat. That alone will be prepared for you. And you shall observe the flatbread, for on this very day I brought out your battalions from the land of Egypt, and you shall observe this day through your generations an everlasting statute. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month in the evening, you shall eat flatbread until the 21st day in the evening. 7 days no leaven shall be found in your houses, for whosoever eats what is leavened, that person shall be cut off from the community of Israel, sojourner and native of the land alike. Nothing that is leavened shall you eat. In all your dwelling places you shall eat flatbread. And Moses called all the elders of Israel and said to them, Draw out and take yourselves sheep according to your clans, and slaughter the Passover offering. And you shall take a bundle of hyssop, and you shall dip it in the blood that is in the basin, and you shall touch the blood that is in the basin to the lintel and to the two doorposts. And as for you, none of you shall go out from the entrance of his house till morning, and the name shall cross through to scourge Egypt, and he shall see the blood on the lintel and on the two doorposts, and the name shall pass over the entrance, and he shall not allow the destroyer to come into your houses to scourge. And you shall keep this thing as a statute for you and your sons everlasting. And so, when you come to the land that the name will give you as he has spoken, you shall keep this service. And so should your sons ask you, what is this service to you? You shall say, a Passover sacrifice to the name who passed over the houses of the Israelites in Egypt when he scourged Egypt, and our households he rescued. And the people bowed and did obeisance, and the Israelites went and did as the name had charged Moses and Aaron. Thus did they do.